Everybody, my name is Kevin DeLay. Today I will be talking to you about 3D printing and the environmental and economic impacts it has on our planet. So, a general overview of what 3D printing is. It's a manufacturing process controlled through a computer. It uses a CAD file or computer-aided design file that contains the 3D object in it. This object is designed in either special 3D software design programs or by scanning an existing object into the computer. This CAD file is then sent to the printer, which divides it up into several thousand horizontal layers and slowly builds it from the base up. The price range of all objects, the printers, the scanners, and the design software can vary greatly. Industrial grade scanners and printers can cost several thousands of dollars, but home use ones can run as low as $30. This is the same deal with the modeling software. There's some very expensive licenses that you could buy, or they're free open source 3D design software you could utilize. This industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry and is likely to continue growing. In 2013, the industry was worth around $2 billion, and it's expected to go upwards of $20 billion by the year 2020. 3D printers have a wide range of use, from consumer goods to industrial goods. Crosses many different industries: production of consumer and industrial goods, uses in the medical industry, the educational industry, and many more. So, one of the benefits of 3D printing is it is an additive process rather than a subtractive process. Typical manufacturing techniques that you think of are considered subtractive processes. A subtractive process is when you take a chunk or a sheet of metal and you hollow it out, or you cut materials into it, sort of like a cookie cutter. This contributes to a lot of wasted materials that need to be resmelted down, and that produces a lot of excess CO2 into our atmosphere. 3D printers create objects in what is considered an additive process. This is an additive process because the printer prints out thousands of horizontal layers on top of each other, so it uses the exact amount of materials it requires, cutting back on a lot of the waste that is produced in subtractive measures. The process of 3D printing also allows the creation of much more complex shapes than you normally could. The fuel nozzle shown on the right is a 3D printed fuel nozzle that used to be about 18 different parts put together, but this 3D printed model was printed in one go, and after putting the fuel nozzle into a jet, it proved to be a much more efficient fuel nozzle than the previously used ones. And shown below is a bracket for certain airplanes. The bracket pictured on the left was the typical design in a normal manufacturing process, and the one on the right was the more complexly designed ones made by a 3D printer. The added complexity of the shape allowed for a bracket that cut CO2 emissions on the airplane by around 40%, and this design would have been pretty much unattainable without the use of 3D printing technology. This technology is also used in rapid prototyping and manufacturing. Rapid manufacturing, it allows for these complex shapes, like the one shown above, to be produced in one part rather than 18 different parts, and that cuts back in manufacturing time significantly. And some companies will use 3D printers for rapid prototyping, in which they create and they test their prototypes quickly and using cheap materials that can generally be recycled. Nike, for example, tests a lot of their shoes before they release them via a 3D printed version. So, globally, the shipping of goods accounts for a huge percentage of greenhouse gases, and this is because certain products will be produced and manufactured in India and need to make their way to the US, or the US will manufacture an item and it needs to ship to India. And so eventually, as 3D printers, as the technology evolves, it should be a way to localize the manufacturing process and have companies create these on an on-demand basis, cutting back on a lot of greenhouse gases produced from planes, trains, and trucks. And these 3D printers can also utilize recyclable materials, so that at the end of the product's useful life, this thing can be fully recycled and made into another one. So that was a general overview of how 3D printing can benefit our economy as well as our environment. And 3D printing is still a relatively young technology and is not fully realized yet, but I believe it can truly be a great benefit to the economy and our environment. The industry of 3D printing is only expected to grow upward from $3 billion to roughly $20 billion by the year 2020. This has huge potential to positively affect our environment. So, thank you for tuning in and watching, and I hope you all have a good day.